The coquette is the embodiment of contradiction. They attract by retreating, they seduce by withholding, and they control by appearing uncontrollable. Where most people chase connection, the coquette masters the art of distance. Their power lies not in what they give, but in what they deny. Every seduction operates on tension. Desire cannot survive in comfort. It feeds on uncertainty, on the space between having and wanting. The coquette understands this instinctively. They know that human beings crave what they can't quite reach. So they place themselves in that sweet spot, just out of grasp, close enough to tempt, distant enough to frustrate. While others rush to please, the coquette lingers in mystery. They don't fear being misunderstood, they use it. They make people work for their affection, making every small gesture of approval feel like a victory. The less they give, the more people project onto them. That's the secret of the coquette's power. They make others fill in the blanks with fantasy. Look at Cleopatra, perhaps the most famous coquette in history. Her charm wasn't in her beauty alone, it was in her ability to delay satisfaction. She understood that attention is currency, and she spent it sparingly. When men expected submission, she gave intellect. When they demanded affection, she gave curiosity. She made them feel chosen, but never sure. And uncertainty is addictive. The coquette thrives on this paradox. They're both available and unreachable. They know how to give a taste of intimacy, a glimpse of warmth, before pulling away. This constant push and pull keeps their targets emotionally off balance. One moment you feel adored, the next you feel ignored. It's psychological warfare disguised as affection. But here's where most people misunderstand the coquette. It's not about cruelty, it's about control. The coquette doesn't withdraw out of indifference. They withdraw to create space, a psychological vacuum that pulls others in. In that space, fantasy grows. People chase coquettes not because they're cold, but because they awaken obsession. There's a deep psychological truth behind this. Humans desire tension. Once we go we want too easily, we devalue it. The coquette manipulates that part of the brain that equates effort with value. They make people earn emotional rewards, and in doing so, they make themselves appear rare. In a world where attention is cheap, the coquette becomes priceless. Marilyn Monroe had traces of the coquette too. Though she embodied the warmth of the natural, she also used the coquette's rhythm, the half smile, the lingering glance, the subtle withdrawal right when things grew too comfortable. She was never fully yours. That's why the world couldn't stop chasing her. Modern culture mistakes availability for power. The coquette knows the opposite is true. When you're too available, you become predictable. Predictability kills attraction. What makes the coquette magnetic is their emotional control. They know when to step forward, when to retreat, when to appear vulnerable, and when to become an enigma. It's a psychological dance between control and surrender, between showing and concealing. This archetype also exposes something uncomfortable about human psychology. People often confuse love with pursuit. When someone makes them work for attention, they interpret that struggle as depth. The coquette plays on that flaw, not by giving love, but by rationing it. They mirror desire but rarely match it. They seem interested then distracted, present then distant. Each withdrawal resets the emotional cycle, creating a new wave of longing. But the coquette's power isn't only about romantic seduction. It extends to leadership, social dynamics, and influence. Think about the leaders who command loyalty not through constant engagement, but through scarcity. They are mysterious, unpredictable, hard to read. Their silence becomes louder than anyone else's voice. People project competence, strength, even divinity onto them, simply because they can't quite figure them out. In daily life, the coquette strategy can be applied subtly. Don't rush to fill silence in conversations. Don't explain every emotion. Don't always respond instantly. The world equates presence with value, but it also equates distance with depth. Learn to be comfortable with being desired, not desperate. The coquette understands that attention is like perfume, powerful in small doses, overwhelming when poured on. However, there's a dark side to this archetype. The coquette's strength can easily become a curse. When you rely too much on withdrawal, you risk isolation. People may become addicted to you, but they never truly know you. The coquette can become a prisoner of their own power, forever maintaining the illusion of control, terrified of being ordinary once the mask slips. Many coquettes, like Greta Garbo or even Monroe herself, eventually withdraw completely, consumed by the very distance they created. To use the coquette's power without being consumed by it, you must balance mystery with meaning. Withdraw to create intrigue, but give enough substance that the connection feels real. Play with distance, but not with cruelty. The point isn't to manipulate emotions endlessly. It's to understand the rhythm of desire. People should want you, not suffer for you. At its core, the coquette archetype is about emotional discipline. Most people chase validation. They overshare, overgive, and overexpose themselves because they fear loss. The coquette flips the script. They understand that by not chasing, you become the prize. By mastering restraint, you master perception. In practical terms, embodying the coquette means embracing ambiguity. Speak less than you think. Reveal only what enhances your mystery. Be emotionally expressive, but never fully transparent. In a world obsessed with overexposure, selective silence becomes a superpower. People will lean in, trying to decode you. And in that act of decoding, they become emotionally invested. Robert Greene wrote, "The coquette's greatest weapon is the promise of reward that never fully arrives." That's the art, to remain just out of reach, to make people believe the next interaction will be the one that satisfies their longing. The coquette seduces not through fulfillment, but through anticipation. The takeaway from the coquette isn't to become manipulative. It's to recognize the value of restraint. In a society addicted to instant gratification, the person who knows how to hold back controls the game. Power doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers, pauses, and smiles before walking away. The coquette teaches that mystery is not deception. It's self-respect wrapped in elegance. When you learn to master your emotions instead of being enslaved by them, when you understand that desire grows in the spaces between words and actions, you stop chasing attention and start commanding it. That's the quiet genius of the coquette. They don't beg to be seen. They create the conditions where no one can look away.